All right, everybody, this is Yara here, and I'm over here with Caden. He actually got first place at our locals. And what deck are you playing, Caden?
We're playing Tenyi Swordsoul.
Tenyi Swordsoul, okay. All right, then. And before we get started, do you have any shout-outs or anything you would like to say before starting?
Yeah, shout out to GM, to Epic. It's my home away from home. We love Steve. We love Robert. Shout out to Pedro, Taylor, Nick, all the back table crew, everybody that hangs out all the time. Yeah, and a shout out to you for having me on.
Thank you. All right, so and what deck are you playing, Caden?
So we played Tenyi Swordsoul.
Oh yeah, that's all right. Let's do this.
And I played 3 of each Tenyi.
Okay.
It's just basically you need to get to these as fast as possible.
Right.
White black's like the best combo.
Right.
And then these allow you to play through everything that if they out your other cards.
So you don't agree with the pure version of Swordsoul, right? Without Tenyis?
So I played it first. I played it like that with DPE. And DPE is really good. It is a really good version, but I feel like sometimes because every Swordsoul card kind of asks you to play another card, so it's really hard to open hand traps and open cards to play.
Yeah.
So I felt like this version was just a little bit better in terms of consistency.
Right, guys.
It hasn't let me down yet. Triple Ecclesia, triple Moye, played double Taya, triple Longyum.
Nice.
This is the best extender. I hate that this is not like a Swordsoul card or whatever, but you have to play it. It's amazing going second. It cracks boards without making a normal summon. I think it's insane.
I've heard some people say that they will run 3 of Taya. Do you agree with 3 or you think 2 is perfect?
I think that in the pure version you play 3. A lot of people, this is the first card they cut. He's like the best worst one, but the deck is like the best worst deck to me. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. But I like Taya at 2. I played it at 3 when I played the pure version.
Makes sense.
For text in the main deck, I main decked Triple Droll and Protoss. Protoss is in the main because most of the time, if you make this first, you Blind Claw Dark, and it's just really hard for certain decks to out. Most decks do main some sort of dark monster to go into. If not, it's just like an auto win against BA or PK or whatever the deck is now. I haven't played in 8 years, so I don't know what everything is. And then we played this in the main because this is this hits the most things, and it's really good against the Flunder deck, and you probably can't beat the Flunder deck going first unless they open really bad, which is what happened today, ironically. So.
Yeah, I remember you played that against me last time. You just skipped turn.
Yeah, it's like a turn skip against what is the
Dragon Leg?
For the spells, the Swordsoul cards, Triple Emergence and Summit. Summit's Extender. Sometimes if you get stopped, you can have this or add this, and it'll help. This gets you Protoss or basically any other card. You never activate this first though, because you get drolled and then you can't play, or it's just a mistake I think to activate this first.
Would you ever up the count of Sacred Summit, or you think just one?
So I've seen a couple of the OCG lists. Some of them play more of this when the Braves come out. I think the Braves are super insane. The format's going to be crazy when that happens because the Braves allow you to play through so much. So other than that, no, I think Summit's okay. A lot of people actually cut it, which is weird to me because I like the cards. Matsu Reborn, why would you not play it? Other cards. So this is kind of like a second Imperm. A lot of people started teching this. This is really good against a lot of things. This is in here because when you use the Tenyis, sometimes you get locked to worms, and this makes your Grandmaster or Sovereign really big. If I cut anything from the deck, it would probably be this. I didn't see it at all today, but when you do see it, it is it helps. It's not always needed though, so that's my only issue with the card. And then to go with these, we played Triple Infirm, and then the only other cards was Blackout and Order. You main deck this card because it's just a blowout in so many things. If you can make a minor board and then put Order up, it's done. And for the extra deck, for Links, 1 Shaman and 2 of the Monk. I was playing 3. I opted to take 1 out. It doesn't always come up. Sometimes it comes up. I took it out because I was trying to try another card today. I never made the other card, but it doesn't really come up that you need the 3rd. For Synchros, these are your worms. Your level 8 worms. This card is insane. I think that if this card gets taken out of the deck is still really good, but I don't think it can do as much because your plays are always the same, except for when you're going second, you're making this and you're just outing everything. And not being a hard ones per turn is just sick.
Card's insane, yeah.
And then the reason I play this is because when you're making your board turn 1, if you're locked to worm, you have to kind of make this card.
Oh, okay.
For the other level 8s, Harpy Lady and this guy's good when you're not locked and you can extend. Having an extra negate to me is just better than like this, which is what a lot of them kind of end up doing. And this card is in here because a lot of stuff wants to be destroyed or can't be destroyed, and this outs it by bouncing it. If people don't know, when a spell or trap is activated, you can bounce a card on the field. So if you have this and, like you said, an imperm or a chalice or whatever, you can potentially out 2 cards instead of 1. And since it's going back to the deck or the extra deck, some stuff doesn't trigger because we got the updated ruling over here now that if it's back in the deck, it doesn't trigger.
Would you keep it on the extra deck, or were you satisfied with the Harpies, or would you take it out?
It never came up today. I think this card is insane. I got the idea from the OCG. They were playing it in the OCG, but they play cross out in the OCG. So I guess like in hindsight, you can like set a cross out and then cross something out and get an effect off of this. But no, because the card that I took out for this was the 3rd monk, and then there's like one other card that's in the side deck that kind of conflicts. But I liked it in the main. I think it's fine. I'll tell you what I would swap it for when we get there. And then this guy, I'm pretty sure everybody knows this guy. This guy's infamous. You make him with your Baxia to shut them out of light. If you have Protoss in this, they can't activate light monsters and they can't special summon dark monsters, so they're just kind of stuck. A lot of players are stuck. And then if this leaves, if this is ever destroyed, so like this is one of those situations where like if this is destroyed, you get Ecclesia, or if you play like hand traps that are tuners, you can get one of those too. I cut my tuner hand traps. I don't think hand traps are that great right now, so it is. The only other one that's not like an 8 is this is a 7. This is really good because you can like break through stuff. You just mod your level, you go down. It can't be targeted. This is almost an instant win against Striker. They can't really out this card. Other than that, I hardly ever go, like out of all of these, this is the least one I go into. I never make this one. And then for my 10s, these are my 10s. This guy comes out the most. This guy comes out the second most. The reason why he's the most is because you get locked into worms with this guy, and when you play Desires, this guy gets huge, absolutely huge. This is really hard for a lot of decks to out, just sitting it in defense. And then this guy, I summoned him the least, but the one time I did summon him, it won me the game. It's pretty good against decks like Drytron or BA if you get that far. Just banish the whole grave.
Yeah, I've seen decks just scoop when this resolves, like Phantom Knights. Yeah. They just kind of scoop
like,
it.
It can like stop a destruction effect. I don't play the red or the Black Rose, but it doesn't matter. You don't need it. It's like the card that everyone wants to cut but never does because it does come up sometimes.
Yeah.
For my side today, the format to me is pretty simplified. So like I feel like everybody's probably citing these. You bring this in the mirror if you're going second. Sometimes you bring this in. I like this against any sort of like back row deck or like a rogue deck that you don't really know what they're playing. Again, I haven't played in like 6 years, so like bringing this in against somebody who just sets back row or makes a field and doesn't put anything in defense.
You haven't played in 6 years and yet you got first place.
It's been a while. Hey, I got a good testing crew. That's all it is.
Yeah.
For the rest of it, we've got Cyclones. Cyclones, just another deck, another card that's like generic back row hate. Only other 3 of Lancia. I was playing Tri-Brigade before this, but like pure Tri-Brigade before we got the Lyralist stuff. And I just remember how insane this card was, so I put it in. You can play like Evenly. Evenly's really good too. It's just the problem with Evenly is a lot of this stuff is doing the same thing that Evenly would do. Last cards, Mind Control and Pinkertops. Pinkertops is still insane. It's just like super generic. I cited a lot of like generic stuff for locals because if I don't know what it does or whatever, I want to just like have as many options as possible. And then this is the last card. This was a card that like you would probably main this over the Harpy. It's for the mirror. It's just a lot of times I don't make this in the mirror because you can just kill them. Like I would rather kill them with whatever else I have than to make this and stop them from playing next turn. So it's unnecessary to me, but it's good against like weird stuff like heroes or some of the Drytrons, like some of them are the monsters that they summon, the ritual monsters are like level 5 and higher, so it's like, you know, you could play this in the main, but I just chose not to. I think that the side deck is very open, but if I changed anything, I definitely would keep these. This is like, to me right now, we're simplified enough to play this.
Awesome.
That's it, man.
All right, and a question that I like to ask people is like, where do you think Swordsoul stays in the meta? Do you think it's like one of the best decks?
Okay, so I keep telling everybody, Swordsoul is like the best worst deck. It sounds weird, but to me, it's just basically like, again, you have a lot of 2-card stuff, so it's like really hard to open like broken every single game. But when you do, and you know, there's other decks like that in the format too, where like my last match I played against Nick and he was playing Flunder, and sometimes Flunder can't consistently open interactions, and even the interactions he did open, like if he had a really good one, I probably wouldn't have been able to play. So I got extremely lucky, but I think it's more consistent when you play Tenyis, but not the most consistent deck, right? Like, I think there's better options out there. I also think Scythe is insane. You lose to Scythe, and every deck that can play Scythe is like every deck but yours, so...
Makes sense. All right, then thank you so much, Caden, for the deck provider.